process of songwriting and of getting songs out has always been really cathartic and therapeutic, and the desire has always been there to be as honest as I can be. I knew pretty early that I loved to sing and I loved to entertain people. So I really, I had that kind of dream for all my life. Although I, got it pounded into me from a very early age that was not a realistic dream.
Right.
So it was kind of at the back of my mind. So it was pretty amazing when it kind of came true. Were very influenced by punk and heavy metal, and in the 70s we got all that stuff coming into the house. They bought everything that came out. So I never really listened to it. It was there, but it never moved me that much. But until a momentous occasion, I saw Peter Gabriel on television, and I saw Shock the Monkey at the same time, and I thought, wow, what have I been missing? His music was incredibly moving, but his lyrics were as well. And it worked for me perfectly, and I thought, that's what I want to do. I don't want to copy him, I just want to, whatever he's doing to me, that's what I want to do.
If looks could kill, they probably will, in games without frontiers, all without tears.
And then I started listening to Kate Bush, because I heard Kate Bush in one of his records. I really saturated myself with those two for a long time. I finally had to stop listening to Kate Bush because I couldn't think of anything else. Like, that was all I was, I learned every song, every instrument and every song, all the lyrics, and I used to sing all the songs. And, I had no interest in doing my own stuff. When I took classical lessons, it was always in the hopes that maybe someday, I would be, in a rock band or a pop band. But the only form of musical training there was in Halifax was classical, really. So that was simply what one took if you wanted to learn how to play an instrument. When I was 17, I was in a band called the October Game in Halifax. We played all 3 times in 3 years. And the first gig we did, we opened for Mauve. And that was the bassist then of Network, and Mark Jowett was the guitar player in the band. And he heard me sing and wanted me to join Mauve. And I was 17, and my parents, didn't think that was too good an idea. So, and now I'm glad I didn't do it because, like any 17-year-old, I didn't know what I was doing really, and I'm glad I finished high school and everything, and I went through a year of art college. My guitar player, in the meantime, kept in contact with Network, and then in May of '86, I'd finished a year of art college, and I was working at the Club Flamingo in Halifax, and Terry McBride came down with Skinny Puffy. They were playing there, and he asked to see me. And I said, now what does he want to do with me? And he took me out to their tour van, sat me down, and offered me a 5-record contract. And of course, I was, just ridiculously happy, I mean, but why? Why do they want to do this? I mean, I don't have anything out. And I said, well, I've never written a song before.
She's just a great talent. Mark saw a certain raw talent there. And, he didn't know exactly what he was going to do with it or how to try and, shape it. I hate to make Sarah a sort of item of like a chocolate bar or anything.
I just, weighed everything out, and it seemed to be a good idea, so I finally told my parents after debating it for a couple months, and my father says, well, we better get you a lawyer. So I got a lawyer, looked at the contracts, and signed them, and I moved out to Vancouver. It was a big step to move to Vancouver because I was finally, very much out of my parents' influence. And I think I did need to be on my own to start figuring out stuff. I mean, even when I moved away for about 7 or 8 months, I was living on my own in Halifax at the time when I got signed, but at the same time, I still felt very much sort of oppressed by being there and all the memories that were there and stuff. I just needed to change.
In the desert of my dreams, I saw you there. I'm walking towards the water, steaming, body cold and bare.
The record was sort of this, on this dreamy cloud. I was making a record. What did this mean? You know, it's just, I was writing songs for the first time, and every time I'd finish one, it was like, okay, there's another step closer. But I never really knew that it was going to go on a record. I didn't know what putting songs on a record and putting a record out encompassed at all. I was so naive, the whole thing, the whole trip. Everything was just so new, and it's like, yeah, this is fun. Everything was just fun and entertaining and exciting.
You're always waiting on the time you decide. I walk down long roads that seem to have no end at all.
The first two videos, the Canadian and American version of Vox, were ethereal and whimsical, and they suited the song, granted, but for Steaming, it's a very different song, and I wanted the effect of the video to be much different. After I moved away from home, I got a job with a teacher at the art college. I was babysitting for him most days, and I was babysitting Ben, who had had a stroke, and they didn't really know what it was caused from, and he got progressively worse. Anyway, he finally had to go to Toronto and go to the hospital, and anyway, it ended up he had a brain tumor, which was inoperable, so in about less than a year he died after that.
On the hills of fire, the darkest dawn, I was dreaming of my true love's bond.
He was such a smart kid, you know, just so together. It was just really tragic. So sort of, I wrote that for him. Touch especially is very visceral and very organic and emotionally based, and just a mood creator once again, which is very much, I think, in retrospect, what Touch is all about for the most part.
Television without.
I realized how incredibly hard it is to write good songs. And, you know, I'm scared. I mean, what if I can't write a good album next time? You know, I've got 8 albums to do now. I have to write 8 albums worth of material, and I won't do it unless it's, you know, I'm satisfied with it. I won't put it out.
When we wore a heart of stone, we wandered to the sea, hoping to find some comfort there, yearning to feel free.
I just really wanted to make a great record, great music. Wanted to please myself. Wanted to do it my way. Wanted the songs to be how I wanted them to be and not how anybody else wanted them to be. And I think I've pretty much achieved that. Proud of it. I've never been proud of anything before, so this is kind of a new feeling for me.
Even Touch?
Well, yeah, I was proud of it, but in sort of I didn't know I was supposed to be proud. It was just something that I'd done, and it was fun, and I feel really different about everything now.
I knew you wanted to tell so strong.
Pierre really helped me with my confidence as far as music goes, and believing what I believe in and not sort of believing it and going, well, all this double think, you know, you think you know what you want and then somebody else comes in, but you can't do that or you can't do this because of this and this. She says, just stand for what you believe in and don't tell anybody that you can't do it because you can, because it's art. And it's, you know, they can say it's business all you want, but, you know, music is something so precious, and you can't let them take it away from you. You can't let them try and make it what you don't want it to be.
In the terms of endearment, in terms of life to love, in the terms of the years that pass by.
It's important to me that the viewers and listeners get what they want out of the song, what they need from it. So in creating an image for it, I like to be ambiguous to a certain degree, or create some sort of a, you know, a story around it. Like with the first two videos, they're a little more, you know, the first one's about a relationship, Path of Thorns, and you don't see a man and a woman screaming at each other and packing a suitcase and running out the door.
You never really tried, so it seems I've had much more than myself to blame.
And what does your mom think about you being butt naked in this video?
She loves it. My mother's she's very conservative. She's very old-fashioned, and if she's not shocked, I don't know how anybody else could possibly be shocked.
Yeah.
Really. It's not a big deal.
No, it's not.
I'm hiding my nudity.
Yeah.
I'm not exposing myself. I'm hiding it. I'm vulnerable. I'm humbled, for Christ's sake. You know, it's not a big deal. Solace is very introspective, and I was a couple years older, and I sort of almost, a lot of the songs were dealing with a loss of something, or mourning my lost innocence, or something like that, you know, because there's a lot of experiences that had sort of left me jaded, which I've tried to work through and not have, and so now I'm kind of over a lot of that stuff that really shocked me, and, you know, shocked the foundations of my naive existence. I've always tried to portray a sense of hope, and on occasion, especially in songs like Ice, there actually isn't much hope for the characters in that song, which is very much probably because of my trip to Thailand and Cambodia.
In countries like Thailand specifically, young girls, very young girls, teens, preteens, come in from the farmlands to the big cities, and not good stuff happens to them.
No, well, a lot of the time, because they're so incredibly naive, they come in, and most of them come into one of the main train stations, or the main train station in Bangkok, and there's pimps everywhere. I mean, you can spot them a mile away, unless I'm totally wrong. And if World Vision doesn't get to them first, to these girls, and the pimps will, and, you know, they'll offer them money or whatever, and they don't really know it's prostitution, I don't think, you know. They come with good intentions, and they get led astray pretty easily. And it's really, you know, it's so terrible that it's so many young people, and also the whole sex trade is really awful, and all the AIDS.
And that's the Museum of Genocidal Crime, which is another topic altogether.
Yeah, this is Cambodia. This is one of Pol Pot's concentration camps for the Khmer Rouge in Phnom Penh.
And who are in these pictures that we're looking at right now?
These are all victims of the Khmer Rouge.
Your glass is empty. It's a hell of a long way home. Why don't you let me take you? It's no good to go alone.
Fumbling towards ecstasy, man. My favorite thing is that when I tell people that, before it actually came up, people laughed, everybody. They laughed, but no way. They thought it was funny. I'm like, right on. I really wanted to make people laugh instead of cry, you know, which is most of the older stuff.
Knows how to fight.
past two records, in retrospect, I can sort of look back at those and say that most of the songs are written from a spiritually low place, from negative energy, and I think most of Fumbling Towards Ecstasy was written from positive energy, from a high spiritual place, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was very much alone for pretty much 7 months when I was writing and making the record in Morin Heights, and that downtime of complete solitude really allowed me to go much deeper inside myself than I ever had before.
Don't tell me I haven't been good to you. Don't tell me I've never been there for you. Just tell me why nothing's good enough.
I used to linger over a line for months because it wasn't quite right, and a lot of that had to do with I think the fact that I needed to be taken really seriously, or wanted to be taken seriously, because I was so young. And I'm sort of at this point where I was at, I was so far removed from everything that I couldn't care less whether people were taking me seriously or not. I felt so strongly and confident about where I was at in my head, in my spirit, that when I wrote whatever came out, for me, for myself, and for that time, it was really good. After getting, for quite a long, over an expansive time, quite a number of letters from different people, and just the intensity of the fantasies that were created in these letters, where I was placed into, where I fit into their worlds that they had created for me and them. It was kind of disturbing.
And after I wipe away the tears, just close your eyes.
They plotted these amazing planes of existence that we would traverse towards together, and it was unnerving because I didn't know who these people were, but the way they wrote, they thought I did. They thought I knew everything about them, and they think that they knew everything about me, which angered me more because I went, no, you don't know anything about me. How dare you, assume that you know everything about me.
And I would be the one to hold you down, kiss you so hard, I'll take your breath away.
Because I write such emotionally based songs, I think it's what I want to do. I want to resonate with other people's souls and kindred spirits. And we all have similar emotions. It's just some people take it to a greater degree and kind of go overboard. But, I wrote that to deal with that. So I sort of saved myself in the third verse by saying I'd never act on it. I put myself into the murderers or the rapists' shoes, however deep you want to go with it.
To this night I wander, this morning that I dread.
The video came about more from that point of view of trying to dispel the myth that celebrities, men or women, or stars or whatever, people put on pedestals for the wrong reasons, and people create these fantasies around one or two images they see. And it's very two-dimensional. It's not reality. And I was trying to sort of create this place where all women are all archetypes, through goddess archetypes, through historical paintings and stuff. And I don't know if it actually worked.
Close your eyes.
And some of my band was in it too, and I hate to say this, and it's not a negative thing at all, but I sort of, it was almost a play at putting men in objectifying positions in rock videos, whereas usually women are in very objectified positions, objectified by men. And I sort of, also wanted to show that women are very empowered with themselves, and, they're very strong, and then, of course, I have my band members naked and sitting on the ground and stuff like the male members, But we talked about it and stuff, and they knew where it was coming from with me, and they understood it totally.
Hold on, hold on to yourself, for this is gonna hurt like hell.
My manager told me on my billboard, I'm like, great, what's that? You know?
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Come on, girl, wake up.
Yeah.
Really? If it ain't
Well,
a hit on Billboard, it ain't a hit, is what they say.
Yeah, but it's just, it's the whole industry business side of things that, you know, are statistics and numbers and all that stuff that I never was really involved in.
Right.
And wasn't particularly interested in.
So,
you know, it's almost anti that, and now I'm sort of like, well, okay, this is kind of neat.
Terry McBride, the president of Network Records, and my manager, has been always at the forefront of multimedia and computers and everything. And he was the one who pushed us forward to do the first multimedia CD thing for the Freedom Sessions, and that was one of the first ones that actually came out. So he was sort of the instigator of all that, and quite honestly, I was a bit unsure about the whole thing, and he forced the issue and said, this is going to be really good, it's going to be a really huge thing.
Sarah's has opened a lot of doors in that it's brought a attention to what we do. Also, obviously being Sarah's management company and Sarah's manager, we've been forced over the last 4 or 5 years to learn the U.S. marketplace.
Like every generation needs new heart and jaded
The past 2 years have been an amazing trip for me because, especially in America, because that kind of really hit for the first time and became really successful there. And
I will remember you. Will you remember me? Time goes by so slowly. I can do so much.
Greg Keeler, who's a good friend of mine from Blue Rodeo, made me aware of the whole situation. I had heard of Leonard Peltier a long time ago, sort of in the periphery of my existence, but it was when I was very young, and it went away for a long time, and I think it's great that it's been brought to the forefront again, and this fellow has been wrongly accused of killing some FBI agents and has been in jail for years and years and years. And I think they even have proof that he didn't do it, but it's such an embarrassment now that they're just trying to shove it under the carpet, and Greg Keeler wanted to get together a benefit record to try and raise awareness and support for Leonard Peltier, and so that's how I became involved.
All of the strength and all of the courage, come and lift me from this place.
We did 4 shows this summer. They were sort of test runs. I mean, I could have done a full tour, but I really wanted to focus on writing for the next record. All of a sudden, everybody's going on about how there are all these female artists cropping up, and it's just a phase. You know, just so happens that there happen to be a lot of female artists who are coming out with really good, tasteful, lasting music, and everybody else has to say, "Oh, it's just a phase." The men will be back in there pretty soon, you know.
Women are the big new hype, although they have been for the last 10 years. It's been the year of the woman, on and on and on. But, you know, when women have become successful, record companies decide that that's the new thing, so they run out and try and hire every single female band or actor they can get their hands on. So, you know, good music is good music, and it will persevere and it will endure. This is a celebration of the fact that women in the music business finally have a really strong voice, a beautiful, compassionate, diverse voice that people are listening to. And I think that's a huge reason to celebrate.
Please don't bring me flowers. They only whisper the sweet things you say. Don't try to understand me. Your hands already know too much anyway.
I think hopefully this tour and the change that it's having now is women's power has mainly been, if you look at top 40, it's been their sex. And it's been overtly sexual, which is great. I mean, I'm all for women doing what they want, but at the same time, to start giving young women role models that are, you know, intelligent, balanced, sexual, as well as spiritual, as well as intellectual people.
All I ever wanted was to view a city light. Break away from here, leave behind the quiet nights.
We're just bringing the balance up, that's all. You know, I don't look at this as, you know, a big woman's tour. I look at this as, okay, we're just kind of bringing the balance up to someday it will be where we're more integrated. And I think that's what's so important right now.
And what's so small to you is so large to me. If it's the last thing I do, I'll make you see.
I think it's very smart of her to give to the communities that we're visiting to, and to have it be $1. You know, $1 ticket doesn't sound like a lot, but I know that today they gave $19,000.
Look at me. It's all that you can say.
Is there a different vibe at a show like this than there would be at Lesbians Rock? Everybody's not lesbians, though.
I know. No, I think I like seeing the guys out here, too. I think it's great they're supporting it, that they're into the same kind of music.
I had a lot of guys lately going, it's a great place to meet women. I never even thought of that, but well, yes, it is. Yeah, I really want men to feel comfortable coming to this. It's not at all about alienating men. It's simply about celebrating the fact that women are beautiful and talented and go on. Excellent, you know, it's great. Men should want to celebrate that.
She had 2 babies, almost 6 months once, in the war of 44.
To me, Lilith is a symbol of hope. I think it'll be very inspirational for especially the 12-year-olds and the 7-year-old girls that come here. Because I know if I were that age coming to the show, I would have been moved and filled with hope that there was a world that I could go into. Sometimes this world is daunting, and I think it's a very positive thing we're offering at Lilith Fair.
Blown my mind daily. I mean, I didn't go into this with huge expectations, although I will say that I did think it would be successful, and I thought a lot of people would come. I didn't think that every show would sell out, and I certainly didn't expect the media hype.
It's a good idea having all women on the bill. It's cool. It's like, there's not many other concerts that would do this kind of thing, so it's really cool seeing this kind of thing.
Wicked lineup of music. Really cool atmosphere, just all around really good time.
Usually when you play rooms or crowds that size, they're all are moshing and drunk or tripping or something. And everybody here seems to be really there for the music and to listen to words and melodies, and it's like people are in love with music again. So as an artist, it's great.
Come on over now. Come on over here. Tell me it's holy, holy. I don't know what that is. Come on over now.
This is the right time for Lilith, and I think Sarah's going to carry the torch for a long time.
I hope to see Lilith Fair have some longevity, and we'd like to include men on the bill at some point down the line as well.
I had heard that that you were considering having men on the next Lilith tour, and then
yeah, I was weakening there for a while. Well, we're doing press conferences every day, and we're sort of expected to justify every bit of this, and there was always, why isn't it more like this? Do you feel like you failed in this? Or it was always sort of the negative. There was never, the positive really didn't get its fair shake, and. So I started weakening, and I started thinking, oh God, maybe I keep going on about how egalitarian this whole thing is. Maybe I should add men just to please everybody. And it's like, f that. I'm sorry, I don't say that. But it really bothered me, because I started succumbing to the thing of what everybody else wants.
All the trees, they put on a tree. And they charged all the people $1.50 just to see ya.
Bless her heart, Emmylou Harris was the one who she came up to me one day before a press conference, and she said, it might not be my place to say to you that, but, we've been doing these press conferences, and I think it's really sad and a mistake if you want to add men to this, because it's so beautiful what's happening, and it's so important.
My love, no.
have to make sexy coffee. It has to look good. It has to jump off the page and make people want to buy the magazine and read it. So it's always a bit sensationalistic and glamorized, and they always find some hook. Yeah. You know, it was frustrating because I often felt that no matter what I said, it got, you know, manipulated and put into something that would be a little more exciting than what I said, ultimately. I get knocked down! A lot of the pop music that's out there today, which is incredibly popular, doesn't necessarily have a very strong emotional message. It's more, not to say, you know, shallow, but just kind of...
Shallow?
You know, like, well, Chumbawamba. Like, it's a great song, but it's not, doesn't have any deep message to it. I think a lot of women are offering an alternative to that, you know, writing really poignant emotional songs that deal with a lot of issues that people have these days, but, you know, and they need that sense of empathy. They need to hear it in somebody else. It's like when you read something in a book that resonates so strongly in your life, and yet you might not have the words to say it, but it's written there for you. It makes you feel less alone.
Celebrities a role model or a negative influence. Did you find yourself at all pressured to portray yourself as the perfect role model?
Well, I do have to, that's a very good question. I do have to say that I for a long time, didn't feel very comfortable being a role model, and probably mostly because a lot of the times I was being called that, I wasn't feeling very comfortable with myself. And just lately, actually, I've been made aware of the fact that Lilith Fair obviously is going to be a great example for young women out there. Just to show, I don't know, I had very few role models, female role models when I was growing up, and I think this is a great opportunity to, to celebrate the fact that women are finally having a voice and being listened to and loved and respected for it. So I don't feel so bad about being called a role model now.
Cross from a faith that died before Jesus came. We're building a mystery.
For me, the process of songwriting and of getting songs out has always been really cathartic and therapeutic, and the desire has always been there to be as honest as I can be, wherever I am and whatever moment I'm in my life, to be real and in that moment and exist there and try and revel in it, whatever it is, whether it's good or bad. And I think with surfacing, I've come closest to that, I've come as close to that as I have been able to.
Come out at night. That's when the energy comes and the dark side's light and the vampires roar.
Surfacing as a record was probably the hardest record I ever had to make, and probably because it was the most personal, and I had to do a lot of work on myself to get back to a place where I was comfortable with myself for many reasons.
Will we burn?
On tour for 2.5 years with Fumbling, and I kind of lost myself completely. And I needed that time afterwards just to sort of rediscover myself, fill up the well. And people always ask me, well, you have a writer's block, and I go, well, that was what the writer's block was. I didn't trust myself. I couldn't write because I was in this place where I didn't know who I was. And I sort of find this perverse pattern reoccurring where I go on tour for a long time and build up all these walls and sort of end up being this tiny little core inside me that remains intact, and I come home and writing the next record is sort of a process of tearing down all those walls. One of my biggest fears is water at night, being on the edge of a big black lake, and the lake being, endless and unknown and very scary. And the whole album was a process of myself throwing myself into it, forcing myself to go there and swim around in it and roll around in it and get submersed, and then hopefully surface again, and you know, come out a better person, I guess, come out after therapy and such.
Make me a witness. Take me out of darkness, out of doubt. I won't weigh you down.
You know, I wasn't always talking about bubbly, happy things. It was more the dark side, which I'm fascinated by in myself and in everybody. And I think with this record, I've just gone a little deeper into that. You know, into realizing how big my dark side is.
Every moment marked with apparitions of your soul.
Now there's some songs in this new record that are very depressing, but there's a beauty in just being sad and just showing that for what it is. You know, there's a beautiful truth in that. You know, and it's just, I find them a little more realistic.
I do what I have to do.
So I like that element. There's some just sort of, you know, chipping away at the honesty thing, you know.
So tired of the straight line, and everywhere you turn, there's vultures and thieves at your back. Storm keeps on.
I wrote Angel sort of thinking about those people very quickly. The bulk of it came in about 3 hours.
You make up for all that you lack. You woke up screaming aloud, a prayer from your secret God. You feed off our fears and hold back your tears. You give us a tantrum, and I know it all grim.
Building a Mystery actually was another one that was very quick. I just had a guitar kind of riff that I was playing, four chord pattern, and Pierre had this sort of chorus that he'd been working on without any music, just lyrics, and he started singing it. I said, hey, that works great. And then within half an hour we had the whole basis of the song done, and we sat down the next couple days and finished all the lyrics.
MuchMusic People's Choice Award for Favorite Artist goes to Sarah McLachlan!
Wow, this is a real thrill. It's a real privilege because the competition is very amazing. Everybody who is nominated is really talented, so I accept this on behalf of all of us. Thank you.
We are still innocent. It's easy, we all falter. Does it matter?
I keep forgetting I'm pushing B in there instead of somewhere in the middle.
Got it.
Lady, I do believe I failed you. Lady, I know I've let you down. Don't you know I tried so hard to love you in my way?
A lot of the song for me, just, you know, a real overall thing is my problem with taking on the responsibility of everybody else. You know, that's a problem I have in my life, and that's sort of one of the issues in the song for me, in a, you know, going through the back door kind of thing.
Is that something that you must be feeling that more acutely, the more bigger projects, take up your life?
I'm actually getting a lot better with it. It's gone the other direction. I mean, I had things happen to me in my life that forced me to really to recognize that and to try and deal with it. And you learn from those things, whether they're mistakes or not, and hopefully you do anyway. I do. At least I try and take those experiences, and the next time it happens, you can see it coming a lot quicker and go, okay, I'm not gonna go down that road this time, because that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for anybody.
We are still innocent. It's easy, we all falter. Does it matter?
You've done a ton of videos, but you still seem to really put yourself in the moment of the song.
Yeah, too much actually. I almost started crying at the end of one take there. I sort of got lost definitely in the moment, which is a good thing. I mean,
I find that amazing.
well, I love the song. I love the places that I went writing it, and when I sing it, I always remember those things. Everything becomes very present. It's the tug and the pull of a relationship that's fallen apart. The love. You love this person, and then at the turn of a hat, you hate them, but you want to rise above all that and be the wizard, but you just can't sometimes.
Pull you from your tower, take away your pain, show you all the beauty you possess. If you'd only let yourself believe that we are born innocent.
What about this American phenomenon? I guess it started with Lilith Fair and has sort of just the momentum in America is extraordinary.
Certainly the momentum with the press started with Lilith Fair. I think I had built up a very solid fan base before that because I had been touring for a number of years.
Yeah.
But within the industry's eyes, definitely all of a sudden. And Lilith did catapult me into a very different bracket of fame. I've always done my job. I've done what I do very quietly. And I haven't gotten a lot of big magazine covers, and I frankly would not have if it hadn't been for Lilith Fair. I wouldn't have got the cover of Time in Canada. I'm sure it wouldn't have been on Entertainment Weekly, and I'm sure I wouldn't be on Rolling Stone either. It definitely helped.
Doesn't mean much. It doesn't mean anything at all.
The weirdest thing about fame is that you don't change, but everybody's perception of you changes. And that is hard to get used to. And I'm not sure I ever will or ever probably should, because it's got not much to do with me in the end. I'm traveling a lot, I'm touring a lot. I have my husband with me on the road. He's my drummer, which is a wonderful thing. And my dog comes with us as well. And our, my family, I have a lot of families, and one of them is my band and crew, and we're all very close. Some of us have been working together for 10 years, and we help keep each other sane and grounded. And I also know my limitations a lot better. Like in this tour, I'm going to tour for a year and a little bit, and I know that I've taken May off. I forced May to be off 6 months ago because I knew if I don't get a break at that point, I'll probably go crazy, and I won't enjoy Lilith because I'll be really tired.
I have a question for you, being recently married myself. I was wondering, how does having your husband in the band affect the band as well as your marriage?
Well, it's a darn good thing because I'm pretty needy.
Is that right?
I'm needy, and it's fantastic having him on the road with me. He's a huge support.
Well, terrific.
I love him so much, and I don't think I could be out here if he wasn't out here with me. So.
Well, great.
Just to get cornball for a second. I'm really lucky that
things have happened to me slowly enough that I've been able to sort of deal with them as they come for the most part. And this past year has really been a whirlwind, and this next year is going to be as well. But I love it. I'm going to be 30 in a couple days, and it makes me feel really happy. But I know so many people who, when they turn 30, they freak out, and they get all weird. And for me, it's like I'm so happy where I'm at. It's great turning 30. It makes me feel really good. It's like, wow, I'm just really pleased with what I've been able to achieve and how happy and complete I feel in my life.
We go throughout our lives, and the more and more you learn, the more you can lose your innocence, because there's a lot of horrible things out there. And I think one of the ultimate goals for me is trying to maintain a sense of wonder. And it's like seeing the beauty in anything, as opposed to always looking at the negative side. And that's always been something that I've tried to do. And I think for me, that's what I mean by we're born that way. If we got there once, we can get back to it. There is a road, there is a path back. It's just been blocked by a lot of walls and a lot of pain and a lot of weird experiences. But, so you have to go back and pull down those walls one by one. But I think you can be childlike and, yet maintain a great sense of wisdom as well.
Next on Bravo's Appointment with Music. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Leonard Cohen, an engaging portrait of the renowned poet, novelist, singer, and songwriter.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Leonard Cohen.
The other time I was in quarters such as these was in the Verdun Mental Hospital, Montreal. I was visiting a friend. He was on a top floor, and I asked him, for he was still lucid, where can I get a coffee? He said, downstairs. That was one of those famous last words. I commenced the descent of similar stone corridors, and I found myself in a kind of arena, which was surrounded by closed doors. It had been a hot afternoon, and I had removed my jacket, as I am wont to do.